You've been to 5 doctors. Every test comes back clean. Your blood work is normal. Your scans show nothing wrong, but the pain is still there. The tightness in your chest that shows up out of nowhere. The knot in your stomach that never fully goes away, no matter how many times you tell yourself to relax. Maybe it's your shoulders that carry it. Maybe it's your jaw, clenched so often you don't even notice anymore. Maybe it's a stomach that reacts before your mind even understands why. You've probably been told it's just stress, just tension, just something you need to manage better. But what if that pain isn't random at all? What if your body is holding on to something your mind already decided to forget? This is the story of a psychological phenomenon most people have never heard of. It's called somatic memory, and once you understand how it works, you will never look at your own body the same way again. What is somatic memory? Most people think of memory as something that only lives in the mind. Something happens, you remember it, you can describe it in words, and slowly, over time, the intensity of that feeling fades away. That is how memory is supposed to work. But trauma doesn't always follow that process. When something overwhelming happens to a person, something too intense, too fast, or too dangerous for the mind to fully process in the moment, the brain sometimes cannot file it away the normal way. Instead of becoming a clear memory with a beginning, a middle, and an end, the experience gets stuck. It stays frozen, unfinished, like a sentence that was never allowed to end. And when the mind cannot finish processing an experience like that, the body steps in and holds on to it instead. It becomes a kind of storage system for everything the mind couldn't fully complete. This is exactly why some people cannot consciously remember childhood trauma at all, yet their body still reacts as if it just happened. A certain tone of voice, a particular smell, a small completely ordinary moment that shouldn't mean anything. And suddenly, without warning, their chest tightens, their stomach drops, their whole body braces itself for a danger that isn't actually there anymore. The mind forgot, the body never did. And that gap between the two is where somatic memory lives. Signs your body is still holding trauma. So how does this actually show up in everyday life? Let's go through some of the clearest signs one by one. The first is chronic neck, shoulder, or back pain with no clear medical explanation. Doctors often just call this tension, hand you a pamphlet on stretching, and send you on your way. But sometimes tension has a story behind it, one that never got the chance to be told out loud. The second sign is a sudden wave of panic in a completely random situation. There's no obvious trigger you can point to. It just happens. That's often your body reacting to something your conscious mind never consciously connected the dots on. The third is struggling to take a full deep breath, or catching yourself holding your breath without even realizing you are doing it. This is frequently a sign of a nervous system still stuck in an old survival pattern, one built for a threat that no longer exists. The fourth is digestive problems, constant fatigue, or unexplained illness that seems to flare up specifically during emotionally difficult periods. The body and the gut are far more connected to stress than most people realize. And the fifth sign is flinching, tensing, or bracing yourself, even in situations that are completely and objectively safe. This is often a leftover reflex from a body that once had to protect itself and simply never fully learned that it doesn't need to do that anymore. If even one or two of these sound familiar, it doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It means your body has been trying to communicate something for a very long time. Why healing your mind isn't enough. Here's the part that almost nobody tells you, and it might be the most important part of this entire video. You can heal mentally. You can spend years understanding your past. You can talk about it openly in therapy. You can even genuinely forgive the people involved without any resentment left in your words. And your body can still carry every bit of it. That's exactly why some people say, with complete honesty, I've already dealt with my trauma, and yet they still can't relax around certain people. They still get physically sick under stress. They still flinch at things that logically shouldn't bother them anymore. The mind and the body simply don't always heal on the same timeline. You can forgive someone entirely in your head, mean it with your whole heart, and your body will still tense the instant you hear their name spoken out loud. This is exactly why simply thinking positive or telling yourself to just move on rarely works for real trauma. It was never only a thought to begin with. It was an experience your entire nervous system lived through, not just your mind. And until the body gets its own kind of resolution, the mind's understanding alone often isn't enough to fully let go. The science behind it. This isn't just a theory someone came up with to sound interesting. It's one of the most researched and respected ideas in modern trauma psychology. Trauma expert Bessel van der Kolk built an entire framework around this exact concept in his widely referenced work on how the body physically stores the impact of overwhelming experiences. When someone experiences prolonged stress or trauma, specific systems inside the brain, like the amygdala, and specific nerve pathways, like the vagus nerve, activate in ways that can leave a lasting physical imprint on the body. That imprint doesn't just disappear once the danger is over. It can remain long after the original memory fades or gets pushed entirely out of conscious awareness. This is exactly why body-based therapies have become so central to modern trauma treatment. Approaches like somatic experiencing, EMDR, and structured breathwork exist for one simple reason. Talking alone doesn't always reach the places where trauma actually lives. Sometimes the body genuinely needs its own separate path toward healing, one that doesn't rely purely on words or logical understanding. What you can actually do. So knowing all of this, what can you actually do with this information in your own life? Start by noticing your physical patterns, not just your emotional ones. Chronic tension in one specific area of your body, or symptoms that keep repeating with no clear medical cause, are often worth paying real attention to. Learn to track physical sensations in the moment, not only your thoughts. When something upsets you, pause and notice what's happening in your body. A tight jaw, shallow breathing, clenched hands. That information matters far more than most people realize. Body-based practices like breathwork, gentle movement, and grounding exercises can help release patterns that talking alone often can't fully reach. And if any of this deeply resonates with you, please understand this isn't something meant to be fixed entirely alone. Working with a trauma-informed therapist, especially one trained in somatic approaches, is genuinely the most effective path forward for lasting change. Healing was never only something that happens inside your head. Sometimes your body is still quietly waiting for an ending it never fully got to have. If reading through this made your chest tighten even slightly, or made your shoulders tense without you meaning to, that isn't a coincidence at all. That is exactly the point of everything we just talked about. Subscribe if you want more videos like this, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. I'll see you in the next one.